My honest take on Greta being arrested, actually, is that I'm wondering if this is all sort of the setup for a reality TV romance in which she is arrested and put in jail. And it turns out that her cellmate is Andrew Tate. And that might you remember their weirdly tension-filled exchange on Twitter in which Andrew Tate tweeted at her pictures of his Bugattis, and she suggested that he had, quote-unquote, small energy. I'm wondering if this is all the setup to the prison romance that is to follow between Greta Thunberg and Andrew Tate.
That creep was Ben Shapiro, and he's showing his family values by fantasizing about what it would be like if climate activist Greta Thunberg shared a prison cell with accused sex trafficker Andrew Tate. This comes after Thunberg was arrested at a coal mine protest in Germany. Hold your nose, because there's more.
It's truly amazing and cringe. There's a picture of Greta Thunberg actually smile. This is the first time I've ever seen Greta smile, which is great. I mean, I'm glad that Greta has found her happy place. Her happy place is apparently being carried in the arms of the police while posing for the camera. She's like grinning as they carry her away. Greta Thunberg. So that again, glad that she has found happiness.
If there's one thing the far right loves to fixate on, it's the activist women of the left. We saw it when AOC called out Republicans for their barely restrained sexual frustration. We saw it when Republicans made elaborate lesbian fantasies about Emma Gonzalez, one of the teenage victims of the Parkland shooting. And we see it now with the incel army fetishizing Greta Thunberg. And it didn't escape the attention of sane people that Ben Shapiro, who loves to talk about how Democrats are all sex traffickers, seems to have no problem laughing off actual allegations of sex trafficking against YouTube misogynist Andrew Tate. But not all the attacks on Thunberg are sexual. Some are just gross. And speaking of gross, here's Candace Owens.
Greta Thunberg, obviously, I've discussed her many times on this show. Something about her is incredibly dark. I can't quite pick up on it, but from the time she's hit the scene, she just seems to me to be in need of an exorcism. You look at her and you're like, this is an unhappy individual. Trump once called her an unhappy child. Well, she's no longer a child anymore. I think she's almost 20 or 20 years old. She still looks like a child, and she's still got some weird spiritual weirdness about her. I can't explain it.
Now, to be fair to Candace, there are probably a lot of things she can't explain, like why the sun hides from us at night. But that hasn't stopped Owens from bashing Thunberg as deeply unhappy and suffering from a real darkness. That's rich coming from Owens, who was last seen trying to grift a mentally ill Kanye West into buying her husband's failing social media platform.
There's just something about her that if I'm around her, I just think this is The Orphan. If you've seen that movie, she reminds me of The Orphan. And I don't want to be near her. When I see her, I think I would not go near that person because there is a darkness over her.
Which is kind of funny when you think about it, since I don't want to be near her and I would not go near that person are things plenty of Republicans have been saying about Candace Owens lately. The only difference is Greta Thunberg is actually doing something of value, while Candace Owens is doing whatever Candace Owens does, I guess. And leave it to Elon Musk's Twitter to turn Thunberg's arrest into the latest right-wing conspiracy theory. Over on the Bird app, the usual MAGA morons are now arguing that the German police were secretly working together with Thunberg to stage her arrest for the media. Because if there's one thing we know the police love, it's left-wing protesters. So by now you might be wondering, can we get any dumber? And the answer is yes, of course, we're talking about Trump Republicans here. Even repeatedly fired right-wing pundit Tomi Lahren got in on the anti-Thunberg action. Brace yourself for this.
But Swedish teen climate activist Greta Thunberg doesn't care. The merits of such energy get in the way of her grift. Here she is in Germany, smiling and smirking away after being briefly detained, which is clearly staged, during a protest against the town's coal mine expansion. Greta and her comrades have their compostable panties in a wad over the expansion as they believe their worthless virtue signals trump affordable and effective energy access for those who truly need it. They call it a betrayal of present and future generations.
Now, I don't want to mock Tomi Lahren for this insane segment, mainly because plenty of people already are. But please, I beg you, Tomi, cool it with the air quotes. Not only is Lahren reading off talking points direct from the American coal lobby, she's even getting them wrong, since it was actually a different organizer who called German coal a betrayal. Yikes. But since we're talking about coal, let's actually talk about coal. Republicans like Donald Trump have claimed bringing back coal is the GOP's top priority. But if that's the case, they're failing miserably. According to labor data, coal mining jobs fell 15% during Trump's 4 years in office. That's the wrong direction, buddy. Coal generates just over a third of all global electricity, but that number is falling fast as solar, wind, and other renewables scale. In fact, here in America, many coal companies are closing their plants and instead moving their revenue into green climate tech. For real. In just the last 5 years, American coal companies have shuttered 48 gigawatts of coal power generation. That's a lot, and it isn't coming back. The far right rails against Greta Thunberg for a couple simple reasons. One, she's a progressive woman with a voice, and we know how the right hates that. And two, she's absolutely beaten down every pro-coal stooge who's tried to debate her. That's why they don't even try anymore. They just resort to calling her a demon and fantasizing about seeing her suffer in jail. Thunberg has achieved something none of these Republican loudmouths ever will. She's sparked a real, meaningful, and impactful conversation about the future of energy. She's called on each of us to be activists and leaders in shaping our own climate future. That matters. And Republicans are terrified. Now, if only she could help Tomi Lahren figure out how the media fits all those tiny people inside her TV. If you made it to the end, thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like and consider subscribing. And leave a comment below so you can let me know what I should cover next.